Good afternoon. Welcome to this talk on digital detox. And my name is Sarah, and today we're going to be in discussion with Dr. Prashant. But we also feel it's more engaging if it's interactive. So throughout, we welcome your comments and questions and ideas. But it is irony is not lost that we're using digital technology and talking about detox. It reminds me of a program used to be on at school when I was young. Why don't you? And it was, why don't you switch off your TV set and do something more interesting instead? But here we are in this society now that actually we connect a lot through digital medium. But as is beautifully put by Christian Louis Lange, who's historian and Nobel laureate, technology is a useful servant, but a dangerous master. So today we want to understand what is the master that we can embody, and how do we know when we are the master and when technology has become our master? Because actually, it has increased demand in many fields. The use of technology has increased the expectations. So how do we do that? How do we manage our life, social life, and also keep our mind present and without being running away? So I'm going to hand over now to Prashant, and he will share some ideas, and do feel free to put in the chat. Also, if you want to come into camera, it would be lovely to see you and have the engagement. So welcome, Prashant. Good evening.
Excellent. Hello, and thank you. Yes, beautifully expressed, and many of these things can be very good servant to human beings, but we can make them into the masters, and this applies to almost everything. So human beings at present, they have become slaves to many things around us, and we have the option to be the master of all this. They are there to serve us, but we need to have honor to remain free and become the master. And in studies, it is seen that we can become slaves to people, we can become slaves to music, but even to noise, and we can become slaves to work. Slaves means if the work is not there, they get depressed, this kind of situation. And so also this new area now, this technology and digital technology. Just to give you some research observations, what is seen in those who are using technology frequently, there are certain tendencies that are seen. And one is decreased emotional and social intelligence. They are having impaired socializing abilities, and in younger people who are getting used to this technology and dependent on it, they have impaired brain development. They have difficulty sleep, and less exercise, but most important, socializing. They are they lose the skills, socializing skills. And each of these, they have their own complications down the line. Like, for example, no exercise. It is not just no exercise. It will lead to other health complications. And these are new things. We are talking about this situation was not there even 10 years ago. It is this language, when becoming the technology becoming the master, this is heard more in the last 10 years. And we don't know the long-term repercussions of this, in the society and in the individuals. Had a patient, this is many years ago, and his problem was food, and the addiction to food had become such that he he himself would say something like this: it is like a demon. Then he would sort of, whatever is there, he would eat, can't stop. And his children and all saying, "Daddy, Daddy, stop, stop," and children are telling him. They all knew that there is a problem here. And he couldn't stop. Whatever is there on the table, he would sort of, it's like a demon taking over. And then it is pathetic. He himself sees, he uses this language like a demon taking over, and everybody else seeing it. So it is not just that it has become your master, it has become a demon. And the same thing can happen to our technology. Even we can create a demon there. And the first sign of it is you are missing things. That you want, one is to use things, like we are using the technology right now, and there is nothing wrong with it. But if there is no notification, if there is no some message to you, and you are missing, you want constant, input from the social media, or and you are, if it is too quiet, you are affected by this. And that is like a early warning that that you are feeding a demon there. Demon is, and it can get very, very dominant very soon. We shouldn't even wait for that. Know that that is the destiny of many. Sometimes you just need to see the lives of some people where if they're walking, they can't stay without, not just the phone in their pocket, but they are they cannot stay without sending some text, or watching something or listening to something. And once we know this, and we need to be aware of it, and we need to control it, we will find a method to stop it. And then a simple program here, and very practical, is keep the phone away from you when you don't need it, and you have idea when you are going to come back to it. If you are not expecting some urgent phone call of some kind, keep it away for hour, 2 hours. You are going to be back there, and the missed calls, the messages, you can answer them, and keeping it on the aero, aeroplane mode. That is like another nice way of dealing with it. When you want, you bring it into action. Rest of the time, keep it. So you are in control rather than the phone is the master of yours. But let us hear some thoughts from you, and how you are seeing, and what is your your situation with this.
Yeah, it would be good because we all have our own perception, and so do type your thoughts, because and one area that was interesting is to realize we can easily feel judged. Younger generation might be very sensitive to being told they are addicted, when actually their life is like very much on the phone. The lots of interaction, and also yeah, educationally, they are looking to devices. I am also. So not kind of putting any labels on, we're all in the same boat. But sometimes if you have a contrast, you know what it's like without, it's also good. And we can do that for ourselves. I notice if, and I'm absolutely guilty of it, being slave to the messages, and this conversation is great for just raising that awareness. But to be able to put it aside and realize that you can be more efficient, even you just give yourself that break. Having other devices, you don't need your phone for everything, maybe a separate alarm clock rather than every time it's back to the phone. Definitely having time before going to bed to have a maybe half an hour or an hour to come out of the stimulation and waking up, not it being the first thing that is done is to check the phone. I personally find that hugely helpful. The period of sleep to be bookended with that space. We're not putting a lot of information from outside. Yeah, I liked what you said about early warning sign, because then it'll be harder. One comment in the chat, doing one thing at a time is good. It's a good point when we're eating. Walking in nature, spending time with others. That would be good to take a break from devices, from the phone, or have it on
I
silent.
just want to show one, little what happens in our brain. Just want to show that, and that will help us understand a little bit more about this. In our system, nervous system, there are more than 100 neurotransmitters, and these neurotransmitters take the messages across the synapse. And one such neurotransmitter is called serotonin. Another is dopamine. Both of these are involved into the digital dependency. And let us see here what happens to serotonin in a level within our synapse. Say a person's level of serotonin is at this level, as you see here in the green line. And if he smokes a cigarette at one point, level goes up. And what happens next is it comes below the starting point. Body has got a natural feedback mechanism. So it wants to keep a certain level inside. If you artificially raise it, then body lowers the production or lowers the release of it. So now there is lower serotonin, and so he already feels depressed in a small way, micro feelings, but he knows this is like a, he knows the answer. The answer is another cigarette. And as he does it, each time the level continues to come down. And then his resting level is something like this. And now when he smokes the cigarette, so this is roughly the diagrammatic representation of what happens to our serotonin level. Same thing happens to dopamine. And these are the two things, but same pattern to all our chemistry in the body. But in this case, we give the example here of cigarettes. And what you see here is very easy way to make oneself miserable. Here, now the person's resting level of serotonin is lower, and he feels normal 10 times a day. Each time he smokes, he feels normal. So that was where he was to start with. Now he has to struggle just to feel normal, and dependency to anything creates this pattern with serotonin. You see the same pattern with chocolates and the same pattern with alcohol, and the same pattern with lust and the sexual behavior, same pattern with, in some people, violence. Dopamine is more involved with the digital technology, but the same pattern. In time, the resting level becomes lower, and he needs this drug. He needs a hit to feel normal. Otherwise, he can go into low-level depression. And as was said in this studies, it is seen impaired emotional state, and impaired socializing, and also social intelligence. And these are the sort of patterns that you see after. He is imbalanced when he is at this lower level, feeling low level depression. He will do anything to feel normal. So that can take him into some other things, sometimes, just like here, people who are into low level depression, they can go into violence, because violence raises the serotonin level. It doesn't cost you anything, and temporarily they feel good, but that is what becomes addiction. So it is a dangerous area further down the line. It's a new demon. We were talking about that food. This man is saying it is a demon taking over his life. Food and all these have been going on for since our existence. The technology and the digital technology is a new thing. So demon is also new. And when some tiger, young, a little tiger, cub of a tiger, you don't feel it is dangerous, but you feed him, it becomes a big tiger, and then it can eat you. It wants to eat you. Same thing here. This small demon doesn't appear to be dangerous, but you feed him, it will become a proper demon, and then we are in the mercy of this demon. And the way the technology is taking over now, it is going into your life everywhere. Here also we are using it. So we ourselves need to be extra careful not to use it when it is not necessary. One practical thing, we were talking about things, and you will have your something what works for you. But keeping things in your life where if there is emptiness somewhere else, then one will go for some device to fill in his time and fill in his, here also low level serotonin. So he will go for violence, he will go for some kind of a hit, because there is inner emptiness. And we need to see that there is no emptiness, and that we have to introduce into our life healthy habits, not like exercise and just being in the life and the world. What our uniqueness here of this institution is understanding the mind and understanding the power of some thoughts, introducing even 5 minutes where you can come to that higher state of consciousness. And if you introduce something of this kind, method where you have learned a technique, you can come to certain higher states, then we will speak about it very soon. And if you do this even for 1 minute, 5 minutes, you are raising your neurotransmitters without any medications or without anything else. You are going to a different route. And once that you are feeling internally full, it has that it solves it, because whole problem is because of emptiness, and then you are approaching it with fullness. When there is inner fullness, then you will not be invoking demon like this food. We all are eating food, there is no demon there. We know when to stop. Why in one person the demon takes over? Because there's some emptiness at another level, deeper emptiness. And if that is addressed, you stop the demon taking over. And so this is a very useful area. We'll come to it. Let's during this hour some discussion on it. But let us hear some thoughts from you.
Yeah, some thoughts, and there's also a question here. I like this concrete example, seeing the brain chemistry, and of course it's not about demonizing cigarettes, but it's a useful example. And we need to, it feels like a really, in a way, a good game that we have to come with fullness, because these apps are designed to keep us very much hooked, and that's their job. It's not a conspiracy. It's like they want us to have the likes experienced in a cluster so that it's more impactful, that we get a kind of more of a hit. So there are many aspects, and that designers are working hard to keep us in their particular program. And the food, which is a related subject, is also similar. There are many things which are designed in a way to keep the taste buds hooked. So we have to take responsibility in a nice way to have that. And yeah, the nice quote, Arina Huffington, there's a reason we disconnect, to take back control of our time. And, we have to disconnect to reconnect, actually, to ourselves, and the quality will be different. There is a question here. What is the difference between mental, emotional, and spiritual health?
Sure. Different people may be using these terms in different ways. Like spiritual health, this is not very clearly defined. How people understand it. But the mental health, that term is used largely when there is psychology, and psychiatry level problem. Neurosis, psychosis, that is like the mental health. And emotional health is like we all get into different emotions, emotional states. There is a range of emotions, and there is sometimes imbalance, and we have the option to lead a life where there is more richness of the positive emotions. We all go through life and we deal with things. We don't need to go into the negative states, even under provocation. Then it is a rich emotional life and emotional health. But the definition can be different with different people. But at least in one definition, mental health issues where there is deeper issues.
It's good that things are more made aware of now, and so otherwise these things are largely invisible. Are they connected, is a follow-up question.
of course, the spiritual health, if we go by the ultimate definition, at present, everyone is spiritually not healthy. We are completely disconnected from our soul. So the spiritual health is totally in disarray. And that becomes the cause of lots of other complications. And it has so happened, we have created a society where it is abnormal. But because majority are at that level, it appears normal. Like here we are showing this serotonin level, and we showed the green as normal. It is normal because it is like that in 100% of the population, maybe. That's why we think it is normal. But if everyone was spiritually healthy, by that highest standard of spirituality, then the normal may be at another level, something else. That would have been the normal level. And right now we have adapted to what we consider as normal. So same thing has happened to our emotional life also. We think many of our reactions, reactions with anger and reactions with the aggression, they appear to be normal because animals behave like this. Such is the language used even in the psychology, books. Animals behave like this, and so this is very normal for human beings to react like that. But uh, by the definition of a different standard, then this is a abnormal life, and our standards are very different. Richness of the heart, richness of the head. And it is possible for us to achieve that also.
Yes, the quote came to mind that we are a low serotonin society. I think it was Oliver James, and psychologist. So it'd be nice to understand a bit more about this fullness, because if we have lost connection with our intrinsic healthy spiritual stage, then as if the emptiness has become normal. And what is that? To define it and understand what is the fullness, that seems to be the crux of it. So it'd be nice to understand a bit more.
One area which is very useful in this connection, connected with computer games. And the World Health Organization, some 5 years ago, introduced a new term, a new diagnosis, because of the computer games, and that is emotional disconnect. And a certain percentage of population who play computer games, they experience this disconnect. Means they are ignoring their world, this world, ignoring family, ignoring their work, job, including the body. They are so drawn into the computer. The spiritual knowledge says that this disconnect, the emotional disconnect, is not a new phenomena after the computer world. Emotional disconnect started much earlier. The spiritual model says that we as human beings spiritual beings. We are spiritual beings, and our world itself is different world. Let me use a different color for this. Our world is a different world. Completely. It is a world of immortality, and we are secure, safe. We are awake to our truth, our reality. And immortal, that is a different game altogether. Consciously, subconsciously, you are so secure and so safe. And then this whole physical experience was an extra experience, just like a computer game. So we come into this world like a computer world. You come there and you then come back. That was a broad positioning. As was said before, when you are having that deep connection to your immortality, your security, and with that comes inner fullness and richness, then we had a right attitude towards the physical world also. Whole lot. That includes everything that is physical world has to offer. We were the masters. Physical world did not become the master. So this was at one time. Then something else starts. There is a constant pull from this physical world to draw us in. This is what happens with this digital world also, and this is what happens with cigarettes, and this is what happened with computer games. It is a pull to draw us in. That force exists. But internally, it is like a tug of war. How much you are connected to this and how much you are getting drawn into the secondary world. So this is a secondary world in this context. Our primary world is here. But then what has happened to this human society? We are defeated by this in this secondary world. Glitter, gold, cakes, and so-called success backfires. In medical books, one term is used, failure of success. So there is a success here, and then that has pulled us more into this world, and we are now emotionally disconnected from our world. That includes our true family and our true home and our true treasures. And we are disconnected even from the true self, from ourselves. We are disconnected. Just like in computer games, they ignore themselves. They ignore the body. Here we are disconnected from the true self. And when we are disconnected, the false ego takes birth. Because that is what we observe now. False ego represents us because you are not there. The real you are not there. And false ego is absolutely living in that secondary. That is why we feel it is all normal. What is happening there appears, this is me, mine, this kind of a new normal we have created in this secondary world. But this false ego has one problem. It is based on a world which is secondary, and it is temporary. You can't live in a computer game So also you can't live in this. Everything is temporary. So he leads a life of forever a victim. And when you are in this victim, you remain helplessly vulnerable. So whether digital new technology comes, whether some new drug comes, and some new food comes, he's vulnerable because he's internally empty. That's why we were saying, spiritual health, we are upside down when this false ego has taken over. We are spiritually not healthy. And this becomes the foundation. Unless this is addressed, we can deal with the digital situation, and we can manage, but something else will come, and we will be constantly battling because our positioning is upside down. We have the option to address this. It is not an impossible situation. We can address it. Once we understand it, it is just like, once you've got a diagnosis, there is answer. And here also there is an answer. And the answer is we have to reconnect with our world and reconnect with ourselves, true self. Not be happy just because we managed digital and I'm not addicted to this and I am not addicted to cigarettes. No, the positioning is inverted. We are in a reverse gear, this way. And this victim mentality is universal. Everyone, at subconscious level, they feel they're potential victims. Something can break and someone can say something. Everyone, kings and subjects, all are in the same boat in this. But that is not the only option. We have the option to change it. And as we do this, we bring ourselves in an upward spiral, regardless of the digital world, or we may not even be using the digital technology. Still, we need to look into this, put ourselves in this upward spiral. You will never regret, because you are discovering that inner fullness. You are discovering your immortality and your eternal security. You are discovering this is a deep need of all of us. And when you are secure, it brings out the best in us. Different personality, fullness, the emotional richness that we spoke of, that is possible from that space. So it is like, let us address the big problem here first, the main illness. Let us address that, and at the end of it, if there is still anything else left, we can deal with it. But if we ignore the main problem, we can't fix our situation or the situation of the society. It would be nice to hear some thoughts from you.
Yeah, what I like is that there's no sort of moral superiority, like someone's like, oh, I'm not addicted to technology, but then there are many factors. And I was thinking when you were speaking, just to see our own cyclical thought pattern, if we think many times the same thoughts, and they show in studies that about 70% of our thoughts are cyclical. That's a kind of addiction in a way. So, and then if things are one thing going wrong, 10 things going right, we tend to gravitate to that negative situation. So it's a kind of a bondage. And what was interesting, you took it to that level where in this model, if you're in a virtual world and this physical world being a bit like a game, you can't tell when you're inside a virtual world what's outside. There's no sign. But do I have to believe this model in order to take the benefit of experiencing this mind free from, this concern and stress? Do I have to believe this to practice or experience it? Maybe an adage to that would be, what indicates that this is a secondary world? Is there a rationale?
Sure. Now we always believe in something. We got some model. We might believe that this is the primary world. It is not secondary world, it is the primary world. No one has proved it to me. No laboratory can tell me this is the primary world. It is still a belief, but it just makes us empty by having that model, by having that way of thinking. It feeds the demons within us. It creates demons. We might as well see from another. It is like remaining open-minded and playing with another model. And you discover that it is a powerful way to remove the demons. And you are discovering the fullness, different personality. Now, how can we know, having tried these two models, which model is right? No laboratory will tell us that this is right and this is wrong. We have to do this ourselves. But one simple guideline, which posture is right for us? Just a physical posture. And right now we are sitting here. Which posture is right? Posture that doesn't give you pain is likely to be the right posture for you. If the posture gives you pain, that is likely to be the wrong posture. Nature gives you a message. When you see in this model, where you understand the primary and the secondary realities with that model, as we have said, you discover spiritual health, you discover emotional health, health at all levels. You discover not just absence of the pain, but emotional pains, and you become lucky at all levels. You discover this, and that's why you are noticing that inner fullness and happiness. So that is like a signal that is likely to be the right posture. But I often say it is good for us to experiment with it, stay with it. If it is making you richer at all levels, use that model until someone proves to you that that is wrong, instead of staying in a wrong posture and experiencing pain.
Yeah, to play with it. And this is a nice comment here. Someone saying they feel there does need to be a connection to society. And they're saying to some extent it's like a prisoner's dilemma situation, but just to organize like a physical event for friends can be a great way to help with this. So, maybe the question also came, how can we maintain a balance?
Yeah, to maintain balance, even with the family, people, social world, all these situations, we first need to experience our richness inside. If you are enjoying your own company, then you are safe with friends also, you are safe with society also, you are safe with technology also. If you are not enjoying your own company, then you are not safe with any of these things. Because there is inner emptiness. You want to escape from yourselves. and the demons. You want to escape from these demons, and so the complications come. So there is really all this good, socializing and all is good, but not the ultimate answer. We can't bypass. And this first addressing our deeper issue, where you enjoy your own company, enjoy your mind, you're happy with your own mind.
I think the prevention is the best cure. So even if, or wherever we're at, and we're all in this game, and we're all learning and learning from each other also, to realize there's a much higher quality of life to experience, and that will then help us understand the contrast. So this reference point of fullness seems really important. Yeah, and someone's commenting, enjoying our own company experience, your inner richness is the key. Nice.
I wanted to create a few minutes where we can experience, but when it is appropriate.
Yes, sure. Maybe a question before that. So we're in this game, in a way, game of life, or game in this as this draw in the box. But I don't remember signing up for this game. Why are we in this tricky game? It's quite tricky.
We may not, because we don't remember doesn't mean we did not sign in. We don't remember many things that happened in our journey, but consciously, subconsciously, we have signed in for this, and we were happy to come. And it is also, we have a choice now, what we do with our time and mind. We have all along the choice. Even this upward spiral, downward spiral, it is not random. It is in our control, our choice.
I think a big area is valuing your thoughts. This was something new to me. We talk about valuing time, but your thoughts and valuing your own mind, when you get the feeling of how powerful. And if I may bring another quote, this is William James, philosopher and psychologist. He said, the art of being wise is the art of knowing what to overlook. So we're quite swamped with information, even just what's around digitally also, but to value quality time, to have the best thoughts, think thoughts that take us up the spiral. So it's been very helpful. So yeah, that would be nice to have the practice.
Sure. It is nice, to create this time, like say next few minutes, partly to experiment with our mind, and a minimum level, you will at least observe what is happening in the mind, even if it was not following some directions. You at least observe there is some wisdom. Ordinary human beings, they don't even observe what is happening in the mind. It is like it is having its own freedom. But our aim is to reconnect. We said there is this emotional disconnect. Our aim is to reconnect with our true home, our true family, true self, and have the right attitude towards the physical world, right attitude towards the secondary reality. For this, we absolutely need our spiritual side. We all have it and we can use it. And the moment we use the spiritual side, the whole physical world appears like a story. For these minutes, next few minutes, we are going to see this whole physical world as a story. So everything that happened today happened in a story. And what is happening right now is also a story. And the past, it is a story. Because it is a story, there is nothing to complain. Nothing to complain about, nothing to worry about. Nothing to think about. I am aware of the world beyond the story. And beyond the story is silence. There is no noise of the story. Beyond the story, we see this world in the image of a sky. Timeless. Timeless, changeless, endless. This is the home of everyone. True home. We direct our attention here. This is our home. And we experience it with that happiness. This is where everyone belongs and they are safe and secure in this world. Home is secure, they are secure. This environment totally favors the true self. The true self becomes conscious. And for the true self, it is totally normal to be like a presence, invisible presence. That is normal. To be immortal appears normal. To belong to this eternal sky, supreme sky appears normal. To be so independent from the physical world, so independent, separate from the story, appears normal. Not to need anything from anywhere appears normal. content forever and secure forever appears normal. Silently knows that he is very, very lucky. Beyond harm, never a victim. Story cannot harm anyone. He knows everyone is lucky. He silently knows this extraordinary truth of everyone. All are lucky. All have a home. All are immortal. And what is more, this is the region of love. They belong to the family, true family, region of love and happiness. As we continue on our journey in the sky on earth, the true self remains conscious and now sees the world the right way up. He understands this secret, most precious secret. And this is the secret truth of everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Be great to hear from you, your experiences and your thoughts. To get this concentration, especially in a gathering, it's very powerful. And I think often emphasize 1-minute experiments with this, and to have a copy of this sketch, you can take it also from the recording. We'll put that link in the chat. This aspect message about going higher as a replacement for what is the ordinary, little bit maybe feeling of emptiness. So that higher consciousness, and I like this point, we all have this option and this broader view. And I think it's a simple answer to many aspects of the push and pull. We get pulled by technology or pushed by the demands, but the higher option, the replacement, fullness from outside, will have a much more equanimity. Someone's written a deep thank you for this important lesson. So lots of thanks, and we will create. Prashant would like to share anything final, and
I might like to encourage you to take a snapshot photograph of this beautiful sketch that you see, and keep it in your main room. We need these reminders. If you relate to this, I can understand this, want to experiment with it, this visual image is very useful thing. Also to know that this false ego we spoke of, that false ego is an obstacle. You want to go up the spiral, you want to reconnect. If you reconnect, this false ego is going to die. And so it is stubborn. It wants to prevent you from reconnecting. So this is the game that will be going on within you. It is not a straight sprint. That's why you need to create your own program and overcome this resistance of the false ego. But the direction is right, and there is reward every minute in the right direction. There is a reward.
Also gives another perspective on what is normally interpreted as a setback, because often if it's based on the sense of the self in the box, it's a setback for that false identity. So it can be like a beautiful way of learning in the school of life, that maybe it's an opportunity in disguise, but taking the support of ongoing resources, community, as well as your own experiments, it makes it sustainable and joyful. So yeah, this is important message. There's an outer game with technology, there's an inner game with the as you called it, demon, but that lower consciousness that wants to reach out. So to be the master, this is the ultimate, and helping others as well. So thank you. Thanks to everyone. Really appreciate all the comments, questions, and your presence. And we'll be having more sessions. There's ongoing courses and in person and online. But main thing is to remain in that fullness. And we look forward to connecting again soon. Thank you.